everyone. I wanted to do a quick review of the syllabus with you. I'll just hit some of the main points. It's really important that you read the syllabus and understand it. It's sort of like a contract between you and I, and it has all the main points in it that you need to understand for what we're going to do in this course, including the schedule and how you're going to be graded and expectations and those sorts of things. Now, first of all, you'll see on the first page instructor contact information, and you can contact me basically, obviously, anytime by email, or you can call my office during normal duty hours, and you can call my cell phone at night up till about 10 p.m. Central Time Zone, and on weekends. Also, I will have electronic office hours by using the Blackboard Instant Messaging System. Now, if you're not familiar with that, there's a section on how to use Blackboard Instant Messaging in the Start Here part of this course. So make sure you're familiar with it. It's a good way for us to respond. It's quick, and we see each other and talk through issues and that sort of thing. In the syllabus, you'll see the course objectives and the course description, which we talked a little bit about during the introduction. You'll also see the course prerequisites, which there aren't any for this course. But we'll talk about some other important topics that you need to think about for this course. For example, there are specific requirements in the course. Those include participating in the class discussions. During week one, there's an introduction. That's just a fun one where you can go ahead and talk a little bit about yourself, tell us an interesting tidbit of information if you wish, but tell us a little bit about yourself, and I'll have one in there as well. You'll have class discussions each week on each of the chapters. Very important that you participate in those. You'll have assigned chapters to read from the textbook, which I'll talk about in a minute. You'll be expected to complete a midterm assessment, and you'll have to write a research-based 5 to 7 page mini thesis. So we'll talk about those in a few moments. Now, the required textbook. We'll be using Dr. Gordon's History of Growth and Career and Technical Education in America. Now, there's a little bit in there about early European history as well, but this is a good book. It's easy to read, and I expect it to be one that you'll want to keep on your bookshelf as long as you're in this business. You can see I like to tab the chapters and that sort of thing, so it's really enjoyable and it's a good book. Now, let's talk about where to get your textbook. In the syllabus, it tells you about how to go into the Blackboard bookstore and get your textbook. Certainly, you can use other sources like Amazon. But be careful of your source. Make sure that the seller is a reputable seller and has a lot of stars or good reports and review, that sort of thing. I can tell you from first-hand experience that there are sellers that have really good prices on books like this, but you may be missing chapters, you may be missing the CD that comes into this book, or you may get it on really poor quality paper. That's what happened to me one time when I did it years ago when I was trying to get one for my doctorate. Now, a little bit about the code of conduct for this class. Treat each other with respect. Treat your work with respect. And treat yourself with respect. For example, when you're writing responses to the threads in the discussions, stop and think before you hit the send button. Reread that and make sure it'll come across the way you want it to. Certainly you can disagree. In fact, in a university setting, we encourage people to openly discuss issues and points for that topic, but keep it on topic, keep it where it has to do with that chapter and with the discussion. If you do have an opposing viewpoint from someone, then just say something like, I agree with your viewpoint. That's pretty interesting points that you make, but have you considered? And you go into it. But make sure it's more than just your thoughts on something. If you can, try to find some empirical information or data to back up your position on that. Generally, when somebody says, I think, sometimes it means they really haven't thought it through. So think it through before you answer it, and make sure it's a good response and helps build the discussion. That's what we really want to try to do. Check your emails every day, or at least every other day, because remember that you will have to have a Troy email account to get any official correspondence. And if I have to send you something on Troy email, that means it's official. It means you need to read it. Certainly we can communicate other ways, but it won't be official. It doesn't count. That's just the Troy email. You'll notice under the attendance policy, I say that everyone must contact me by email or telephone by the first day of class. I just want to make sure that you have got everything you need and you're ready to take off and enjoy this class and be able to participate in it. If for some reason you can't contact me on day 1, you have to contact me on day 2, or even as late as day 3, that's okay. But try to do it at least by day 1, because I want to make sure everybody gets off to a good point. Now, under the section titled Submitting Assignments, you'll notice about class discussions and what they're all about. As it shows in one of the points there, you get 5 bonus points for your first post, which is your introduction. Once again, have some fun with that. You will have chapter discussions that will be graded according to the discussion board rubric. Make sure you read that rubric so you'll understand exactly how to earn those points. You want to get the highest points possible for yourself. They're worth a maximum of 9 points each, and there will be 11 chapter discussion topics, so the maximum points you can earn is 99, obviously. Now, quizzes and the assessment. There's a section in there about that too, and that's obviously real important to you. The syllabus quiz, which is 10 bonus points. Now, it's a good way to start off is earning those bonus points. So you can start off the class with 15 points in addition to those you earn through the other discussion boards right away. You'll have weekly quizzes. These are not tough quizzes. They're true-false. They'll be on chapters 2, 3, 5, 6, and 9. Begin basically on the second week. And the idea is to help you reinforce the reading in the books. So you'll recognize that they come directly from the book. You'll have a midterm assessment in week 4. And it's worth a maximum of 100 points. So get prepared for that. Now you will notice in the back of Dr. Gordon's book, there is a student study guide on a CD. Use it. It'll help you get ready for the courses. Now your mini thesis. It has to be 5 to 7 page in length, not including the title page and bibliography. And it's worth a maximum of 100 points. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. There's a rubric for it as well, obviously. All the grades will be posted in the student grade book, the Grade Center in Blackboard. Any assignment submitted after midnight Central Time of the due date will be considered late, and you'll lose 10% of the grade for every date that it's late. Now, I understand people have emergencies. You're adults, you're taking online courses, sometimes life gets in the way. Again, communicate with me. If you see that some emergency is coming up, just let me know in advance. Now keep in mind, it has to be a real emergency. The dog ate my homework is not an emergency. Okay, so make sure it's legitimate and just let me know in advance. We'll work something out. But I am providing, remember, I'm providing a rubric for every one of the ways that you'll be evaluated, so check those rubrics out. If you understand those rubrics, then you'll do well in the class because you'll know exactly what I'm looking for in each one of the grading areas. Now, again about the discussions and answering the questions, I will assign a specific discussion topic in 7 of the chapters. And in 4 of those 7 chapters, I will ask you to pick a topic that is of interest to you, and you can discuss it however you wish. Remember, I'll say it again, become very familiar with the rubrics so that you understand. Now you'll see on chapter 7 of the syllabus kind of a layout of what those expectations are and what the rubrics, sort of how they're looked at. So make sure you make a copy of that page and also the class schedule page, which we'll talk about in a minute. Pin it to your bulletin board so you'll know exactly what we're looking for. The grading scheme for master's level courses here at Troy is pretty much the same for everybody. 90 to 100 earns you an exceptional grade or grade of A in this class. Not hard to achieve. Everybody should be able to achieve that if they just do the work. Okay, internet access. Really important that you have good internet access and that you understand the technology and you have a good working computer. Make sure that it'll keep up with you. If for some reason you don't have a high-speed internet connection, and a lot of us don't, contact me and let me know. We'll make sure that we are aware of that and I can work with you on that. Don't let that be a hindrance to you. The course schedule on page 10, I'm going to hold that up and hopefully you can see it with this camera. Alright, that really is a good thing to make a copy of and pin it to your bulletin board because it lays out for every week exactly what you're expected to do. So there should be no surprises between now and the end of this course on what you need to do. Okay, your Troy email, very important that you use it, that you understand it, that you watch it every day or at least every other day because that's the official way of corresponding with you. If I send you something that is official, I'll send it through the Troy email. Probably that's what I'll use most of the time. So, just check your Troy email on a regular basis and look for something. It'll have obviously be from me. Make sure you're ready for online learning. Now, what do we mean by student readiness? Well, there's really several areas you've got to think about. One is time. You have to be able to devote some time to it. And make sure that your support unit, whether that's a spouse or family or parents or children, whatever, make sure they understand that you're going to have some quiet time that you can spend on the computer and do your homework. Don't be consumed by it. Take some time to be with your family as well. It's really good for balance, and you need to think about that. Other areas of readiness include, like I said, technological readiness, and that you've got that available. So if you're having any problems, don't get discouraged. I know sometimes the technology is discouraging. Things happen. But call me, talk to me, write me, talk to your classmates if you have any questions. And one other resource that I really would like to point out for you to consider is that within Blackboard there's something called Trojan Cafe, if you haven't seen that before. That is your forum. That's a way for students to communicate with other students and encourage each other and help each other out. Plus there's some kind of neat things in there, including the Student Resources webpage. If you do have problems, there's all kinds of help available to you. For example, technological help. You can go on the chat feature with EdTech at eTroy. You can call them. There's people are more than happy to help you. And of course, I'm here. If you have questions or problems, let me know. We'll make sure you get the answer. One thing that's important to me is plagiarism. All right. Now, you've already got your bachelor's degree. You understand it. You know what it is. But let's just review it because I want to make sure we start off on the same sheet of music, if you will, and understand exactly what plagiarism is and what you need to do. Plagiarism is representing someone else's ideas or work as your own original ideas or work. General rule of thumb is, unless you thought about the idea, cite it. Make sure you cite it. It's better to quote something, put it in quote marks. Even if it's paraphrasing someone, quote it, cite it, because you don't want to get into that downward spiral of making it seem like somebody else's is your work. I will use Turnitin for the paper, and we will be checking for plagiarism. So the online writing lab is also available to you, and they will help you make sure that you're in good shape there. We will use the APA style in our writing project, which, speaking of, like I said, it needs to be 5 to 7 pages in length. It needs to be in Word format. I don't have anything else other than Word. That's what's pretty common, so make sure you do that. It needs to be based on research. Normally you can go to Google Scholar and get lots of articles in this area, so pick something that you can find lots of articles on and get lots of support. You don't have to use Google Scholar. There's many other sources, the library, JSTOR, things like that. But you pick your sources and make sure you use them. You need to have a minimum of 5 to 6 peer-reviewed journal articles. You need to have no less than 8 of those sources for this paper to earn a top grade. Now you can use more. You can use non-peer-reviewed, but you got to have at least 5 to 6 peer-reviewed. Non-peer-reviewed would be things like Wiki. Now I don't have any problem if you use Wiki for some definitions and stuff like that. So use the best sources you can find, and make sure it's a scholarly, well-researched paper when you submit it. You will be able to choose a topic for your paper from chapters 12 or 13, or you may choose a topic outside the book if you wish, but make sure it's connected to this particular course. If you are considering working on a PhD at some point in the future and you want to use this paper as sort of a background practice for it, it's a good thing to do. I recommend that as well. But you will have in your schedule, it'll tell you when you need to submit your ideas to me and what you want to report on, and I'll review that if I have any questions. Okay, finally, the paper should consist of 5 sections, which includes the title page, and basically it says this paper is submitted in partial fulfillment of the course materials, your name, date, that sort of thing. Introduction to the problem. That can be 1 paragraph or 2, whatever you need to do. You can have it longer or shorter, but don't waste too much time on that because you've only got 5 to 7 pages, and believe me, when you put them in at 12 point and double space it, that'll go pretty quickly. You can use 1.5 spacing if you wish, but not single spacing. I think that would be a little too hard for me to read. So 1.5 or double space will work, either one. You'll have a background of the study itself, and that's the main part of the paper. And then you'll have a couple of paragraphs on conclusion. Once again, you can vary a little bit here on the length of that, but that's your thoughts. That's your section. You review the literature if you wish and say, here's what I think about this particular problem. And then finally, you have your bibliography at the end. So that's it. I hope you enjoy the course, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Look forward to working with you. Bye now.